We must remain focused and continue to make the difference. Blessings, fam, and welcome back to Inspirational Cafe. I'm your girl, Rochelle. Here is where I uplift, I encourage, and I inspire. Don't forget, hit that like button. Don't forget to share, and come on, subscribe. Come join the cafe where I inspire every single day. Fam, we must stay focused as we make a difference. We must remain focused and continue to make the difference. God has strategically placed you where you are for a purpose and to change the world, to make a difference. Yes, we've all had setbacks. We've all had to maneuver our way around many obstacles. We've all had to take some detours. We've faced many delays in our lives. That's life. But it doesn't negate the fact that we all were birthed to make a difference. God has graced us all with special gifts, many talents, and we must tap into our gifts. We must believe and move forward into our purpose, into all that God has promised for you and for me. It's so extremely difficult to believe that we are purposed, to believe that we can change the world, and to believe that we can make a difference when all hell is breaking loose around us, when it's test after test, when it's trial on every side, when it seems like we've had more barriers than breakthroughs. It's easy to believe that we are purpose. Purpose for what? Purpose to do what? What can we do when the challenges seem to beat us down daily? How can we believe that we will overcome all that is in front of us when there's just too much to deal with day after day? If it isn't our family issues, it's issues to deal with our careers. If it isn't our careers, it's just simply issues of the world. And it all seems to be crumbling down upon us all. We can't find a reason to be positive. Most of the times we expect negative. Every single day when we watch the news, we don't expect to hear anything great. Because there seems to be, everything around us seems to be full of negativity and chaos, confusion. It seems like everything is out of control. So how can our mind be centered? How can our mind be renewed into believing that we serve great purpose? That we can change the world with our gifts? That we can proceed into all that God has called us to do? It's extremely hard to believe. But God promised us He is indeed a present help. And He declared that He would never leave us, even through all the chaos, the confusion, the trouble, the trials, the difficulty, when we have to maneuver our way around, when we have to take detours, when there's delays and setbacks. God declared that we're birthed to change the world, to add value to the lives of many that we encounter. But we must first believe. We must trust God and believe that even through all that we endure, we're yet conquerors. We can persevere. We can get through it. And the reason that we know all so well is because you and we're still here. We know there have been many obstacles that we had to overcome, opposition, difficulty, troubles and trials. We are walking testimonies of how God brought us through and brought us over. God declares that we can change the world. We can make a difference no matter what we endure. There is a positive aspect to suffering. Oh, yes, there is a positive aspect to suffering. It doesn't seem that there's anything that can be positive about suffering. But there is a positive aspect to suffering. Because when we suffer, when we go through many obstacles and trials, He births something great within us. Every time I've heard of someone walking fully in their purpose, going forth into all that God planned for their life, cultivating all of the great gifts that God has given to them, it usually is birthed through suffering. I remember talking to this young lady, and she was just, my God, she suffered greatly because her husband was diagnosed with cancer. She was his caretaker. And for years, she took care of her husband. Just her. She took care of him to the day that he died. She didn't believe that there was life after her husband's death. She didn't want to live. But through all that she endured, through watching her husband suffer through cancer, through being his caretaker, and then watching him die, there was a purpose. God had great purpose for her. She didn't realize who she would become or what she would do. But after her husband died, she started a charitable cancer foundation in honor of her husband. Because there is great purpose behind the suffering. Often we don't believe. But every time we suffer, every time we go through, every time we have to endure hardship, purpose is being birthed. And yes, it's difficult to understand when we're in the situation. But there is greater purpose when we suffer, when we have to go through, when we have to detour, when there are delays, when there are setbacks, when we don't understand all of the chaos and confusion that we have to deal with from day to day. It all works together. But God is strategic. He is strategic in all that he does. And even though at times we will never understand God's plans, we know that God's plans are greater than anything that we could ever fathom. It all works together. I would dare for you to believe that even with all that you've endured, all that you've gone through, God is strategic, and it's all a part of God's plan. You are meant to add value to this world, to change the lives of many that you encounter. You are meant to make a difference, even through all that you've endured, even through all that you've gone through. And I just want to encourage someone on today. Dare to believe that even through all of your mistakes, all of your mishaps, all of your bad habits, through it all serves great purpose. And it's all a part of God's plan. Because you were meant to add value to this world. You were meant to change the lives of many that you encounter, to make a difference. But you must remain focused. Remain focused on your purpose. Yes, it's not always easy. Yes, it's difficult, but it all is a part of God's plan. Remain focused. Whatever your purpose is, don't allow what you're going through to block or stop your progress. Yeah, you'll have some setbacks. We all have setbacks. There will be many delays. There may be a few detours. You may have to maneuver, find another way. You have to make some major adjustments maybe. But it still doesn't negate the fact that you were meant to make a difference.